If you've recently inherited a property in Tennessee, then you're most likely feeling a little bit overwhelmed right about now. That's why I'm super excited to kick off a brand new 5-part video series designed just for you, Selling Inherited Property Fast in Tennessee, the complete 2025 guide. And over the next 5 videos, I'll walk you through everything you need to know, from navigating the tricky probate process, handling title and legal hurdles, deciding whether to fix or sell the property as is, all the way to closing the deal and understanding taxes and tax implications. In my 7 years experience as a Tennessee real estate investor, 10 years as a licensed realtor, and someone who's personally bought hundreds of homes from distressed sellers here in Tennessee and North Georgia through our home buying company, Cash Out on My Home, I am here to give you the insider secrets and strategies to make probate work for you and save you hopefully thousands of dollars, because other professionals simply won't tell you this information. Whether you're in Chattanooga, Knoxville, or anywhere in Tennessee, this series will give you insider tips. I'm going to provide real stories as well as expert advice that you really are not going to find anywhere else. So if you've ever wondered how to sell an inherited house in Tennessee quickly, or how the probate process in Tennessee works, or maybe how to avoid costly probate mistakes, then you are in the right place, and this video series is for you. I'm pulling back the curtain on the entire Tennessee inherited property sale process, from probate court approval to closing day, and giving you the exact roadmap we use with our clients to navigate the Tennessee probate process and real estate transactions successfully day in and day out. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So our first topic is what surprises most people about inheriting a property in Tennessee. And let me go ahead and start with a real story that just happened only a few months ago. I got a call from a homeowner, and her name was, let's just call her Sarah. She owned a property in Knoxville, Tennessee, and this was a property that she had recently inherited from her grandmother, who had lived there for over 30 plus years. And when she called us, she mentioned to us that she thought she could just list the property on the market and be done with the probate home sale within 30 days. But by the time she called us, it was 6 months later, and she was still stuck in Knox County probate court paying property taxes, homeowners insurance, and utilities on a house that she couldn't legally even sell yet. So at this point, unfortunately, Sarah had burned through thousands of dollars in carrying costs, and she had no idea that she would have to pay for those things when she first inherited the house. And here's the brutal truth about Tennessee inherited property sales that the real estate industry doesn't really tell you. It's not like selling your own property, or it's not even like selling a rental property that you own. Tennessee inherited property laws create a completely different set of rules, timelines, and requirements. And what most people don't initially realize about selling an inherited property is that 87% of inherited property sales in Tennessee get delayed or cost thousands more than they anticipated, because heirs could make or will make critical mistakes in that first 30 days of filing for probate, or in the first 30 days of inheriting the property. So I've personally seen families lose, as low as $20,000 all the way up to $50,000, simply because they didn't understand Tennessee's specific inherited property laws and procedures. And so I did create this series in hopes that you'll watch it before this happens to you. So our next topic is, do you always have to go through probate in Tennessee? And this is a common question that I get very often. And let me be really straight here. Let me set the record straight. Here in Tennessee, you can't just sell an inherited house right away or right off the rip, right? In almost every case, you do need clear legal ownership, and that means going through the probate court. Now, there are a few rare exceptions, like if the property was held in a trust or had a named beneficiary or was jointly owned with the right of survivorship. But at least for what I've seen, about 95% of inherited homes out there, probate is typically required. So don't get tripped up by what you heard from a neighbor or what you maybe have read on some generic blog or even on Reddit. If you do want to sell the property, you've got to get that title in your name the right way. And that starts with filing probate. Now, let me clear up what the only true exceptions to selling a home before or without probate in Tennessee are that would apply to you and allow you to avoid probate entirely. Number one is the property was held in a executed living trust that was properly executed. Number two, it was held in joint ownership with right of survivorship, but most people own their homes individually, or the title just says tenants in common, which will not avoid probate. And number three, which is much less common, but it's if your property was a small estate under the value of $50,000. And this mostly likely doesn't apply to real property most of the times because most homes are over $50,000 unless it's a mobile home or a tiny piece of land. So if the previous owner set up a transfer on death deed and the property can directly transfer to the named beneficiary, this can also skip probate as well. And this is pretty new in Tennessee as well, the transfer on death deed. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've seen heirs spin their wheels for months trying to find a shortcut around probate. You know, they call every We Buy Houses company in Tennessee and they're trying to get that quick cash offer, hoping for a speedy, fast transaction. But trust me, I have been in this business long enough to know that skipping probate, unfortunately, it just doesn't work. I wish it did, and we would do it all the time if we could, but it's going to end up costing you way more time and money in the long run if you don't do this the right way right up front. Another question that we often hear is, how long does probate take before you can sell an inherited property in Tennessee? So Tennessee probate real estate transactions often will take you at least 6 months on the minimum, up to 12 to potentially 18 months on the long side. And here's why probate can actually take you that long. It's because Tennessee requires at least a mandatory 4-month creditor claim period. And that's a state law. And unfortunately, there are no exceptions to it. So add to that court scheduling delays, administrative requirements, and the actual Tennessee probate court approval process, you're looking at some serious time. And I know for a fact that in Hamilton County or even in Knox County, court backlogs is a real thing and can add at least 2 to 4 additional months if there are a lot of probate cases that they're working on during that given time. So I've worked with probate clerks personally over the last several years in both of these counties, and they'll tell you the same thing. There's really no shortcut. What are the costs that are associating with inheriting a house in Tennessee? Now that we've talked about the probate process and the timeline, let's discuss what you have to pay when you actually inherit a house in Tennessee. Here are the major things that you need to watch out for. There may be more, but here are the main things. Ongoing maintenance. So even if the home has been fully paid off, you're still on the hook for things like your utilities, keeping the bills paid, the electricity on, lawn care, cleaning, and basic maintenance, or even potentially emergency repairs like a pipe bursting or a leak. For example, you do not want to leave the house without heat during the cold winter months because that could potentially lead to burst pipes. I know that for a fact. I've experienced that. And all of those associated costs can add up pretty quickly, especially if the house sits vacant, and you do not want to let a house sit vacant for too long. Another expense to be looking out for, and a big one, is property taxes. And the average property tax in Tennessee is about 0.46% of your home's value per year, but it can be higher in some counties here in Tennessee. So if you miss a payment, you could be looking at penalties or even a tax lien. And if you don't pay taxes for over 3 years, you can be looking at that property being auctioned off entirely. And another expense is homeowners insurance. So homeowners insurance is an absolute must, especially if the property isn't vacant or if you're in a flood zone. It's more expensive and harder to get than a regular property on a vacant home. So you want to go ahead and make sure that you insure that property right away. Other fees that may apply to you is HOA fees. If the house is in a neighborhood with the homeowner association, those fees don't just stop because the home is in probate or because you've inherited the place. Just like the mortgage needs to continue being paid, so do your HOA fees. And another thing that, of course, I think most people think of is legal and probate fees. If you and your siblings can't agree, or if the probate happens to drag on, attorney fees and court costs can start to tack up and eat into your share that you would get from the property. And another big one is vacancy risk. An empty house is a target for vandalism, squatters, and weather damage, unfortunately. And if no one's gotten around to maintaining that vacant house, you could be looking at code enforcement fines. The city is quick to come around and start tacking on those fines for unkept houses. I've seen families here in Chattanooga or Knoxville plan to wait for the market only to watch their inheritance really shrink and dwindle down because of the hidden carrying costs. And sometimes selling sooner and just getting it out of the way, especially to a cash buyer who buys properties as is, that can actually put more money in your pocket in the long run than you trying to handle all of these expenses, maintain the property, and try to put it on the market. And lastly, the other expense that you should consider is potential Tennessee transfer tax implications. And you should definitely consider speaking to a tax professional about this before you decide to sell to the house. Maybe it makes more sense to hold on to it. Maybe it makes more sense to wait a little bit longer, but definitely speak to a tax professional about the tax implications when you sell. So before you decide to keep or sell that inherited house, make sure that you're looking at all the real costs of owning inherited property here in Tennessee, not just the mortgage or what you think that you're going to profit from the actual sale of the property, because those are just short sight items. There are a lot of hidden expenses that can sneak up on you, especially if you're out of state. And people always ask, what bills do I have to pay after inheriting a house? Or what are the ongoing costs of holding on to inherited property here in Tennessee? Well, the truth is you could, like we mentioned, be on the hook for property taxes, insurance, maintenance, utilities, HOA fees, repairs, or even legal or probate fees. And to put it in perspective, I had a client here in Tennessee who inherited a property that was valued over $180,000 in a nice part of Chattanooga here in East Brainerd. And by the time that they got through the Hamilton County probate process and sold their property to us, unfortunately, they had spent close to $12,000 in carrying costs alone for that property. So it did take them quite some time. Missing something on this list can eat away at your inheritance and drain your equity before you can even realize it. So if you do want to protect your inheritance the most that you can and avoid these silent money leaks that, are apparent and they're going to be there, make sure that you're factoring every possible expense, not just the obvious ones like taxes and insurance and your mortgage. How can I sell an inherited house in Tennessee? Here are the top 3 ways, in my opinion, that you can sell a house in Tennessee that you've inherited. And after working with over 400 Tennessee families since 2017, helping home sellers from Chattanooga all the way to Knoxville and even Memphis and North Georgia navigate inherited property, I can tell you that there are really only 3 practical ways to sell an inherited house. And I'll give you a short breakdown of what you can expect from each selling route so you can figure out what's going to be the best fit for your situation. Option 1 is the traditional home sell, listing it on the open market with a realtor. And this is what I call the maximize every dollar approach. So if your inherited home is in great condition and you want to squeeze out every last dollar of that property, then this is going to be your route. This is the route that most people think of first when they think of selling their inherited house. And here's what you can expect. Do expect your timeline to be at least 8 to 16 months from start to finish. So from the probate being completed, plus the listing, cleaning up if there's any showings, and then eventually closing on the property. This is going to be the best option for homes that are move-in ready condition, especially homes that are in really hot markets here in Chattanooga or anywhere in Tennessee. And for the total cost, plan on 6 to 12% of the sale price going to the realtor commissions, repairs, holding costs, and closing fees, maybe even 15%, depending on the value of the home. And here's a quick tax note. You will pay full capital gains on any increase in value since you inherited that house. Option 2 to selling your inherited property would be selling to a We Buy Houses company, or a straight to a cash buyer or a cash sale here in Chattanooga or anywhere in Tennessee. So if you need to move fast or the house needs significant repairs, or maybe you're out of state and you just want to sell to a local cash buyer and you just want to call it a day, that is a very real option for you. The timeline is significantly quicker. It's usually 30 to 60 days after the probate wraps up. And this is best for people that are, again, either out of state or they're dealing with multiple heirs, or they're facing financial urgent needs and they need to get that money out quickly from the property. The benefits of selling to We Buy Houses companies or to a cash home buyer is there's not going to be any repairs on your part. You don't have to worry about signing any disclosures or disclosing anything about the property. There's no headaches, no realtors, and you don't have to list the property, and it's a guaranteed sale. So working with an investor, they will also handle everything regarding the probate sale, from title, escrow search, and they will be your partner in closing this transaction. Even if that means helping you clean out the house or allowing you to walk away, selling it completely as is. We have bought so many homes that were inherited that were either needed complete renovation or potentially were hoarder homes and there was a lot of collectibles. We always just say, take what you need and the rest we'll take care of. Option number 3 to selling your inherited property would be the family buyout or keep it as a rental. It's called the keep it in the family approach. Maybe, the house means a lot to you or another family member, and it could potentially be a really great rental. The numbers make financial sense and the property is in a strong market. Regarding the timeline, you can usually turn the home into a rental as soon as probate is done, as long as it's rental grade ready and you don't have to do those repairs. If so, you should consider how much money is it going to take for you to get it rental ready. This option is best for heirs who have sentimental attachments or those who are actually interested in turning an inherited property into potentially long-term income and also keeping it within the family. And here's what you should consider. Consider that you'll potentially need to do a buyout with siblings or co-heirs and be ready for the responsibility of being a landlord. Wondering what paperwork you actually need to sell an inherited house in Tennessee? Well, here is your go-to checklist of documents needed to sell an inherited property in Tennessee that you should start gathering right now so you can avoid delays and keep your sale moving smoothly. You want the original will, if available, and certified copies of the death certificate. These prove that you have the legal right to sell the property and are required by the probate court and as well as the title company. So have these ready right away. A will you won't always find, but if you can, have that ready. You will need current property deed and title paperwork. So you'll need the official deed and any title records to show that you are the rightful owner. If you're not sure where to find these, check with your local county courthouse, especially if you're in Hamilton, Knox, or Shelby County. They'll provide that for you. And you'll need recent property tax statements. So grab the latest tax bill from your Knox County like Hamilton, or from your county assessor's office like Hamilton County or Knox, to show everything's up to date, or to see if there's any unpaid taxes that need to be settled before the closing. It's really good to know that number so you know what you're going to net from the property. I've worked with a lot of sellers that are surprised by the taxes that they need to pay off from the proceeds of the sale. You'll also need any existing mortgage statements or lien paperwork. So if there's still a mortgage, if there's a home equity loan, or any liens that at least you're aware of on the property, you'll need those payoff amounts and any documentation that you have around that. These do have to be cleared before you can sell. Sometimes these are negotiable with the lien holder, but you'll want to be aware of these and notify the home buyer of these, or just pay them out of your own proceeds. And that's something that title can help you work on during the escrow process. That's something that we've helped homeowners negotiate with on behalf of heirs as well. We've called lien holders on their behalf and try to negotiate payoffs, lower amounts. So that's definitely something that a cash buyer who's experienced would be able to work through with you as well. And another thing that you'll need is the current homeowner's insurance policy. So make sure that you have proof of insurance coverage for the property, most especially if the home has been sitting vacant for a while. Another thing that you'll need is utility account information. So have the account numbers and contact information handy for electric, water, gas, sewer, any other utilities that you can think of that are on currently. Buyers often want to know these details, and you'll need to either transfer them to the new owner or shut these services off at closing. Make sure that they do not remain in your name. That's another mistake that I see after selling an inherited property, is the utilities haven't been transferred and you continue paying for them. And another document you'll need is the Tennessee Residential Property Condition Disclosure Form. This is required by state law unless you're selling it as is to a cash buyer. It covers everything you know about the home's condition, so fill it out as honestly and as completely as you can. If you haven't lived there and you don't know much about the house, you're just gonna have to do your best. So as we wrap up this first video as a part of the 5-part series of our inherited probate series, let me share with you some Tennessee County specific insider secrets that you won't find anywhere else. And this is what I was mentioning in the beginning. After years of working directly with inherited property sellers across Tennessee, we have picked up some hard-earned wisdom that could save you time, money, hopefully headaches, especially when it comes to dealing with probate, title, and taxes. So for Davidson County here in Nashville, probate moves fastest when you work with attorneys who specialize in Tennessee real estate and also probate real estate administration and inherited property sales. So find someone that's an expert. It moves a lot quicker here in Nashville because with Nashville's high property values, you really should not overlook the potential for significant capital gains taxes when you sell, and plan ahead to avoid those surprises. So also speaking to a tax professional if you own a home in that county. For Hamilton County, which is in Chattanooga, the probate court here is efficient, but they are strict about tenancy inherited property lien searches. So I always recommend starting your title search and your title work early in Hamilton County to avoid last minute delays. And you could do this by contacting your local title company. Usually the fee to run a title search is around $500 to $700. If you're expediting that, it could cost closer to $700. And for Knox County, which is here in Knoxville, you should expect extra scrutiny on your Tennessee residential property condition disclosure forms. I've had experience with this personally, so do not try to cut corners. Knox County is really thorough and they are very strict on missing paperwork. And if there's anything at all that's not complete, they will stall your sale. And for Shelby County, which is in Memphis, processing times are a lot longer, but local officials are experienced with inherited property buyers and probate sales in Tennessee. So patience will be key here. Try to be nice to the county clerks and just set your expectations ahead of time. And for Rutherford County in Murfreesboro, this area is booming and the probate court is still adapting. It's not fully developed. So do be prepared for some delays as they adjust to the growth and the increase in probate cases. So what taxes do you pay when you inherit property in Tennessee? Well, Tennessee doesn't have state inheritance tax or estate tax anymore, but that doesn't mean that you're off the hook. Most heirs still face these hidden costs when selling inherited property in Tennessee. Let's go into it. So number one would be federal capital gains tax. You'll owe tax on any appreciation from the date that you inherited the property to the date that you actually sell it. Tennessee transfer tax, the state charges 37 cents per $100 of the sale price when you transfer inherited real estate. Ongoing property taxes, you're responsible for property taxes during probate and until the sale actually closes. Rates are going to vary county by county, but the average is around 0.68% of the home's value each year. And you also should consider depreciation recapture. So if the property was used as a rental, you may owe additional taxes on prior depreciation when you sell that property. So make sure you're factoring these Tennessee specific base tax and probate penalties before you actually decide to sell your real estate and your inherited property. And if you're dealing with inherited property anywhere here in Tennessee, really, my advice is to not try to navigate this alone. The stakes are really high and Tennessee has specific rules that are too complex compared to what I've seen to other states. So you should totally reach out to a local expert who knows the in and outs of inherited property sales in your county, whether that's a real estate agent, a home buyer, a probate attorney, a tax professional, just someone to help guide you through this. Don't just rely on YouTube or advice from your friends. So in my next video, I'm taking you inside Tennessee Probate Court and we're going to continue sharing insider secrets about court procedures, required forms, and strategies that can literally cut your probate probate time in half. And I'm going to show exactly how you should talk to probate clerks and what you can do to speed up your probate case. So this is a video that you do not want to miss. And in the description below for this video, I provided a comprehensive free Tennessee inherited property checklist that covers every step, every form, and every deadline. And if you're feeling the pressure or you just have questions about a property that you inherited here in Tennessee, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Give us a call. There are no strings attached. Jonathan and I are happy to provide honest advice as local home buyers here in the Chattanooga market. And we have helped plenty of people. If you just take a look at our website or our channel, you can see we've helped plenty of people make it through the probate process as smooth and as stress-free as possible. And remember, knowledge is power, but the right knowledge at the right time can save you thousands of dollars. So we hope this video was helpful, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video. I will share it up here. This video, we're diving deep into the Tennessee probate court. We'll see you there.